Bob Iger confirms the future of the Star Wars franchise after the Rise of Skywalker. That coming up next on the Force Friday show.
Yes, Stephen, this one is coming in from Digital Spy, but in all honesty, it is coming from a whole myriad of different sources. And as you did say, Bob Iger, the Uncle Bob himself, Disney CEO, has confirmed Bobby Iger has confirmed that after the Rise of Skywalker, the future is not looking so great for the feature-length film, Stephen. They are, and I quote, going into a hiatus for a few years. That's actually via Variety, who appear to be the first ones to have broken the story. He then goes on to say that obviously they've got 3 TV shows in the pipeline, and they're fixing their attention firmly on TV shows for the short to medium term future, and then perhaps they'll readdress the film situation in a few years' time. So what is your thought on this, Stephen? Do you think this is the correct decision, first and foremost, and when do you think we will begin back to see another Star Wars movie in the theatres?
Yeah, I can just picture Bob Iger saying, do I look like a man with a plan? Certainly not. Well, he's got a plan now, but I think it's been a forced plan, John. Obviously, with Benioff and Weiss stepping away from what they were doing with Star Wars and the uncertainty of Rian Johnson's future.
It's not happening.
It's definitely not happening. You know, and I think they've not got anything obviously planned now. If you were telling me this maybe 5 years ago, you know, when we were sort of leading up to episode 7 that they were going to take a hiatus after all the big announcements of there's going to be a Star Wars film every year, and then them doing this, I'd have been pretty devastated.
Yep.
Not now. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just episode 8
Star
did that
Wars
to me.
fatigue.
You know, I don't think it's fatigue, John. I just don't feel that way about the films at the moment just now. I think, as you mentioned, John, because we're going to be getting the 3 television series, we're getting the Mandalorian second season. I hope that's not part of it. Well, the second season.
Yeah.
We've got obviously Obi-Wan, and we've got the one with the Rogue One guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Rogue One guy. So that will keep us going. That will keep us busy, you know, over the next few years, because these, I don't know, obviously, how much of a stretch we're going to get out of The Mandalorian. We do know that we're going to get 2 seasons at least.
I think there's a large amount of scope there, Stephen.
I think so, John. I think because the time frame between, obviously, episodes 6 and 7 is such a big gap, there's a lot of things you can do in that time period anyway. Obi-Wan, different story. His situation is he's stuck in between episode 3 and 4.
It's a 20, 30 year. Well, 20 year.
Well, I think Luke's about 19, 20, isn't he? So, 17, 18. So is Leia, because they're twins.
Yeah.
I think
it
is, John. And the Cassian Andor one, we don't know how far back they're going to begin the series at yet, you know. But who knows? I think we might get a couple of seasons out of that. It'll be one of those ones they call a limited series now.
Oh, yeah.
So enough there to keep us going. And
Absolutely.
there's a good thing about television series as well, is that they're like, although they're spaced out longer, they're longer than a film, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you were to put them all back to
10
back.
hours, yeah. It's 3 films.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not that big a deal. But I think it's been a forced move for, obviously, the studio. Just the situation with, obviously, Benioff and Weiss, the uncertainty of what's happening with Rian Johnson officially at the moment. I think that will be confirmed after probably the new year, John, that he has actually nothing to do with Lucasfilm anymore.
Yeah.
And they've not got anything else in the pipeline. You know, they've obviously put a stop to the standalone films. Did that, you know, after obviously the performance of Solo, which was another flop. It was an okay film, but it just didn't perform.
That's a controversial remark there, Stephen. No, another flop. Some would argue it's the only flop in Disney's Star Wars catalogue as of yet, if you can call it a catalogue. There's another word.
Yeah.
Portfolio of movies. Because obviously The Force Awakens was a monumental success. Last Jedi, less so. Rogue One did okay. I think it broke $1 billion. Then Solo hits the black sheep of the family, which is a shame, because considering the damage that was done behind the scenes with obviously Lord and Miller, Ron Wood having to come on and shoot half that. Ron Howard, not Ron Wood. The Rolling Stones.
That would be interesting, yeah.
Yes, Ron Wood with his heroin, that would have been mental.
Allegedly.
Oh no, he admits it.
Allegedly.
Ron Howard coming on board and shooting that. I think that was actually a decent movie, Stephen, considering it wasn't the worst. I enjoyed it. I would have liked to have seen it have a standalone or a spin-off of some sorts. And I think we will see that getting into the TV shows.
Yeah.
I think we will definitely see them picking up with maybe even Lando and doing his own thing, maybe interconnecting that into the criminal underworld, maybe come back to the likes of Tatooine. That wouldn't make sense if it's Lando though. He shouldn't be connected to Tatooine in any way, shape or form. But going back to some familiar locations, delving into the likes of Bosk, IG-88 and obviously Dengar, I think it was. All these, and maybe even Boba Fett, these nefarious bounty hunters, we could set it any time you want back into the past, within reason. I don't know what the lifespan is of Bosk or whatnot. But I think we will see them try and expand out the likes of the solo characters, Kira and whatnot, Amelia Clark if she's available, and bring that into the TV medium. I think we will see a second season of Cassian Andor when we finally get the first season, and it will be a hit because you're bringing in Alan Tudyk, you're bringing back Diego Luna, I want to say it is, not Gabriel. That was the guy who was in Terminator Dark Fate. And those guys have got great chemistry. They were one of the better things in Rogue One, so I can't see that TV show being a flop. Just the setting, it's a prequel, but it's a close enough prequel to the original trilogy that it just brings the nostalgia, much like Mandalorian. And then you've got this dark recess underbelly of the Resistance as well, which are the Rebellion, which was touched upon lightly in Rogue One, where you've seen what they'll go to, the extremes they will go to get their hands on information and perhaps bring down the tyranny of the Empire. I don't really care about this, Stephen. I'm getting off on a massive tangent about the movies. I'm much like you. If this broke 3 years ago, 4 would have been when The Force Awakens came out, so that wouldn't make any sense. But if it broke 3 years ago, I'd have been devastated about this break, Star Wars movies. I think it's the correct decision. I think they've realised that things aren't going the way they perhaps anticipated originally. They were looking to perhaps go up to 2 movies a year at one point.
That was the talk,
Never worked out. We also had the division that surrounded the Last Jedi, then the fourth was Solo a Star Wars Story, and that led to Bob having to come out and cover for Kennedy. I'm saying Kennedy, Kathleen Kennedy. Sorry, Kathleen, you'll not be watching it. It doesn't matter. And now he's having to come out again. That's another thing. I think Bob will be getting mightily peeved, pissed off at continuing having to come out and cover for Kathleen Kennedy's myriad of different F-ups, if you'd like, continually mismanaging all these projects and micromanaging these directors.
Subject, John, the timing of it as well means that she might not be the president the next time a Star Wars film comes out. So
I don't think she will.
This could be
why
they're doing that. I think the television series will take care of themselves, because even before an episode has been broadcasted, people are buzzing about The Mandalorian. They're buzzing for it. They can't wait for it. We've got a topic we're going to be talking about in a moment, but that's the sort of vibe we're getting at the moment for this television series. The Obi-Wan one is going to be just as anticipated, if not much more, because we were all wanting a standalone film. We're getting something better. We're getting something that's probably 3 films, as you said, John. It's going to be about 10 hours worth of Obi-Wan Kenobi and what he's been doing in between episode 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I cannot wait for it, Stephen. I've just watched Doctor Sleep not long ago, and Ewan was magnificent in that. I think he's been in Fargo and whatnot. He's a magnificent actor. I'm going to see how many times I can say magnificent in this show.
Cassian Andor, though, John, that's going to be an interesting one. How far back they're going to go.
Well, they
with
could,
that.
yes, Stephen. Well, how old was Cassian in Rogue One? I'm sure someone out there will know. But he didn't look that old, but he didn't look that young either. Maybe mid-30s. So they could certainly go back 15 years.
He had a tough life, so, in his own words, when he was talking to Jyn Erso. That's another thing.
They were they were Federation.
Yeah.
I think they were on the side of the Federation, his family, and then also the Republic came in, or the Empire, and trashed
another interesting character, Jyn Erso, John. It would be interesting to see where they would want to take that, if they could take that somewhere. Not obviously crossing over with Cassian Andor because they don't know each other.
Yeah.
But would that be something that would interest people? Probably not, because Rogue One seemed to cover her life.
Yeah.
Where you have
actress,
with the sort of flashbacks. Yeah, I think a standout performance, wasn't she? But I think there's so much scope and there's so much positive things coming out of these television series just now that Kathleen Kennedy couldn't even ruin.
Yes, well, look, Stephen, Kathleen Kennedy, she's not involved in TV shows. That's another thing. She is not involved in the TV shows. She obviously brought Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni together. So That's another positive for me. I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of Kathleen. I think she's completely mismanaged the movie side of things, and I think you're absolutely right, Stephen. I think it's deliberate this time, and it takes her out of the picture
John,
for the new movies.
It absolutely baffles me with that long pause we just had there. But the thing that baffles me about Kathleen Kennedy being the president of Lucasfilm is that she's not involved in the television stuff. She's not involved in any of the comic books. She's not involved in any of the novels. This is the things you should be involved in.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You're the president of Lucasfilm, who cover all these story arcs on all these different platforms, and all you seem to be covering is the movies, and you're not doing a good job of it.
She's not. But Stephen, look, it'll be what it'll be. I think it's just the future of the industry in general. It's skewing more to TV now. There's more scope for storytelling and bringing in big names, and it's more long form, and it's more nuanced the way you can drip feed out information. And look, they want to move into the streaming platforms, the streaming war. And the best way to do that is to focus on TV shows in the medium future, short to medium, and then they can go back in to feature films when the time is right for it, if you like. I don't know why I'm doing that. The whole world in his hands. But Stephen,
in your hands.
You did mention about the Mandalorian coming out, and I think we will move on to that and skip over the Ewan McGregor one as of yet. I don't know if you want to do that.
No.
We'll just skip right on to the Mandalorian one, which is all about, obviously, Disney on the same earnings call, Bob Iger announcing when the Mandalorian and Disney Plus are coming to the United Kingdom, and I believe 4 other European territories. I think we've got the likes of Germany and whatnot, and it's coming on the 31st of March 2020. Stephen, what to do? What's your thoughts on that? We have to wait 5 months for the Mandalorian. 5 months later than the United States.
I've got to stay off social media for 5 months.
I'm not staying off it, Steve.
Because everyone else is talking about it and we can't.
No,
it's absolutely daft, John. It really is. I didn't think we'd have to wait this long. I thought it would have been maybe January at the latest, you know. We talked about it. We've talked about it. Talked the hind legs off it, actually, in regards to contracts and stuff like that with Sky Television and BT and all that. These will all be coming to an end at some point anyway. It's crazy. The United Kingdom, you know, which is so synonymous with the franchise, you know, having to wait another 5 months, you know, 4 months, whatever it is, before we get it. Basically, it's 5 months. It's the end of March. It's getting into April. I don't know what to say, John. I'm absolutely deflated by it. I mean, what do we do? I mean, they're forcing the hand here, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, Stephen.
Well, they're forcing your hand, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I know what I'm doing. I will be seeing The Mandalorian when it comes out next week. I'm buzzing for it. There is no way I'm waiting 5 months. And I will watch it again when it comes out officially in the United Kingdom on Disney Plus. When I finally can give my money to Disney. Disney, I say it every week, I am a sycophant for Disney content.
Somebody's just...
I want to give you my money.
Well, someone's actually saying on Twitter, John, you're telling me we still don't get Disney Plus for around 4 months. Disney are going to have so many people watching shows like The Mandalorian via other means. So there you are.
Absolutely, Stephen. They are pushing people into a corner, and the drip feeding of information about this, the big lasting impacts, spoilers that are going to be leaked out in the first episode are going to have for the rest of the Star Wars fan or universe or whatever.
£6 a month, John.
£6 a month is magnificent priced.
I think you made that kind of prediction around about £6-7, you said?
Because Stephen, they're trying to corner the market. They're trying to come in and undercut Netflix. Netflix is getting more and more expensive. It's what, £9, £8 odds now?
Yeah, it's $8.99 or $11.99 HD content. There is a cheap one at $5.99, but that's standard definition and it's not very good.
No, there's no point in that at all, Stephen.
No.
But I think it's very competitively priced. I think it's the correct decision from Disney to come in with this. They'd have a cheat, Stephen. They'd have a cheat if they were to price it higher than Netflix after making us wait 5 months longer. Obviously, Brexit and whatnot could shape that again. I don't think it's been confirmed yet that it is definitely $6.99. I think they're just saying that's the most likely price point. But also, if we crash out of the EU without a deal early next year, it could change it for the worst when the costs of getting these things into the United Kingdom goes up, and then we could get screwed. It could be £10-12. I'd still pay it if the content's there. Certainly they need to get their finger out with the Marvel stuff, because I believe we're only getting 67 movies out of it. Not 67, 6 or 7 movies out of the 22, 23 that are there. But Star Wars, this is where it's at, Stephen, The Mandalorian. And when it does come out officially, I will absolutely be watching it again. even though I'll already be watching it in a week's time because I'm not missing it.
Yeah.
But I'm delighted we're finally getting it.
Yeah.
I digress. I've flung it and I digress. It's been a long time.
Yeah, we'll finally get it, John.
Yes.
You know, and it's one of those things that we can't really do anything about other than what you're suggesting. But
it'll come out just in time for Captain America, not Captain America, Falcon and the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier.
Well, this is another thing I wanted to talk about, John. I know it's kind of gone off topic. It's not Star Wars related, but it is Disney Plus related. That I think Kevin Feige's actually come out today saying that you will have to subscribe to Disney Plus if you want to understand the future of the Marvel films, because of all these television series are all going to connect in and out of the films. So
Stephen, this is what we wanted to see with Star Wars. We wanted all of the canon, the Claudia Gray books, the Chuck Wendig books, all these great books, Timothy Zahn.
it might still come, John.
Yeah, we wanted them to interconnect with the canon, the main saga. And this is what I think they're trying to do. They're trying to reset, step back, going back to the previous topic briefly, take their time, bring in these TV shows, see if it rejuvenates the franchise and the fandom. They all got on board and become a homogenous whole again. Then we can then drip feed these in and have them all connect in a meaningful way into the greater story, and then we can start doing great movies again. Get someone on board like a Dave Filoni who understands the canon. No offence to Kathleen Kennedy, wonderful producer, but she doesn't understand Star Wars like a Filoni. And I'm not saying he can come on and do a Feige, but he can bring in Feige. But bring someone in who understands Star Wars and makes it all fit in, and then it's worthwhile going back and forth between the different mediums. But look, Stephen, we're running out of time swiftly here. We've got a couple of other topics we may or may not be speaking about, so I will move on very, very quickly to not that topic, but the one about Ewan McGregor speaking all about Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars prequel. And he says, Stephen, that it will explore the trauma of the character in between the events of The Revenge of the Sith and obviously the A New Hope Star Wars itself. And obviously he's talking about the slaughtering of the Jedi after Order 66, the emotional trauma he was in at that time, and then he's having to go off. He's lost everything. He's lost his brother. He says it to Anakin, you were a brother to me, and what that's done to him emotionally, psychologically, where he is. So it's going to explore that. Are you happy for that, Stephen? I think I'm
not happy he's traumatised.
No, but we were both looking for this dark character study.
Yeah, it'd be wrong of this television series not to cover his emotional baggage, if you like, after the events of episode 3. It wouldn't make sense if he was unaffected by it. Certainly looked affected by it in episode 4. Just the mention of I don't know if he was called Anakin at the time at that point. It was just your father, wasn't he? I don't think he was named. I can't remember.
He was your father was a good friend. He was a cunning warrior.
I don't think he was named until Empire Strikes Back, actually.
He probably didn't have a name, Stephen, at that point.
Yeah, but just the mention of it, Johnny looked troubled. Just the look on Alec Guinness's face. So,
Steve, that puts me in mind of those great videos they combined together from all the prequel trilogy and they intersplice it with that conversation in the homestead.
Yep.
And it adds a new layer to that performance from Alec Guinness. A guy that didn't know all about this prequel stuff.
No.
I'm sure he wasn't given the information. And the way that he was showing pain and suffering, it really adds when you go back and see it spliced in.
Yeah.
It's just what a great actor he was.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're doing it as well, because it gives the character that more depth as well. We're not just going to see some crazy hermit wandering around, sand dunes, staring at a young boy. Doesn't sound right, was it? But stroking his chin,
That's why I get rid of the beard. I was getting dodgy looks.
Yeah, but listen, the Labour leader should take a note.
Yes, he should.
But listen, I think
the Tory leader should take
it's
a
good
note.
that we're getting this kind of. I think Ewan McGregor's been dying to start talking about this as well. We were talking about it last week, and this is the kind of things we're going to get over the next couple of years about where the story is going to take place. How they're going to handle the story between episode 3 and 4. That'll be tricky as well. Obviously, the look of Obi-Wan as well is going to be very interesting, how much he's aged from episode 3. Because that'll give you an indication on how close we are to episode 4 and how long
those binary stars that were causing him to lose his hair and look like a haggard bag.
Yeah.
There's a great poem, Stephen, from back in my school days. She had a face, a haggard brownness like that of an old leather bag. That reminds me of what Obi-Wan looks like in A New Hope. Yeah, compared to what we've seen in The Revenge of the Sith. There's no way a 20-year time span does that to a man.
Well, you're talking
no chance.
The Jimmy Smits character was probably roughly the same age, and Jimmy Smits looks great. He looks great. obviously when we saw him in Rogue One, he still had a good head of hair, he hardly a wrinkle in his face, and then you look at poor Obi-Wan. I think it's to do with obviously, living conditions.
And the emotional turmoil.
Yeah, I don't think they had any oil of Yuli out in obviously Tatooine or anything like that, John. So you can give him, cut him some slack.
Stephen, look, I'm just delighted to see...
Another long pause there.
Yeah, it was a long pause. Stephen, I'm just delighted to see... I wasn't sure if you were finished or not, Stephen. I was giving you a chance to come back in, but no, you were done. I'm just delighted to see the man's back, first and foremost. I just love Ewan McGregor, period. He's a great actor, a great guy off the screen, apart from when he's doing his dodgy things with his family and whatnot, which I always seem to touch upon all the time. But... I'm really interested, and I'm glad that he's pointed out that it will be focusing on the emotional trauma of the character. I like to see character studies in Star Wars, Stephen. I like to see the fun and carefree space, what you call opera, that we got in these saga movies. There's a place for that, but when you go to TV shows, it's more long form and you're drawing it out over hour-long episodes, 10 episodes, then I want to see dark character studies, especially when it is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And as you did say, he's not aged well. Clearly, something's been going on in this 20-year period to shape this man. But look, by the time...
looks better than Anakin.
He does look better than Anakin, that's for sure. He looks like a... it's salami. What do you call them? Salami sausages. Looks like a Red Skull.
Pepperami.
Yeah, pepperami, salami. Yeah, he does look like salami as well. But Stephen, by the time we get to Star Wars A New Hope, 1977, not literally in this, it's a galaxy far, far away, he looks as though he has some closure, and I think that will be explored. I think we will see another face-off with Darth Julius Vader at some point. I think he will have some closure. Obviously, he'll face him and he'll realise, look, the man's truly gone now. He's more machine than man, as we hear Alec Guinness say. And I think we'll see that maybe as the TV show goes to its conclusion. Hopefully, a couple of seasons, we'll see him becoming more and more like the Alec Guinness version of the character.
I think they're going to throw in a few nightmares in there, John.
Yes. Hopefully they do, yes.
I think they will. I think it'll be quite dark as well.
With Vader, so on fire. Yeah. What the hell have I done to my brother?
Yeah. I loved you.
Yeah, I loved you. Your new empire. But look, Stephen, we will move on that note.
To democracy.
To democracy. Okay. To the final topic, it will be very short and sweet indeed. And it's about the late Carrie Fisher. Her brother Todd has been out speaking once again. I hope it is Todd and that's not the name of her dog. And essentially, Stephen, he says... Gary, yes, that's right. That she was originally supposed to be the last Jedi, an all-powerful Jedi in the Rise of Skywalker. But sadly, she also passed away, I believe, December 2016.
And on the release of Rogue One,
Yep, and it couldn't happen as a result. So, what's your thoughts on this? Is this again Kathleen Kennedy trying to bring too much identity politics into Star Wars? Try to force the female characters to the floor. I personally don't think it is in this case, because it was always hinted at that Leia had a force power. You have this power.
It was always hinted, John, that she stayed away from that
as well.
That's true. To be fair, that
in the expanded universe.
She wanted to devote her time in politics. That's the problem with guys our age, particularly yourself, John, who invested a lot of time in reading these books, and having that kind of mindset where these characters that we loved, the direction they went in, and then they were not going in that direction all of a sudden. So it's very hard.
No more hot chocolate in Lando.
No, no more lumpy. But I think I always predicted that was going to be the plan anyway, John. That Harrison Ford would see by episode 7. I did think obviously Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker would make it to the end of the trilogy, possibly passing away at the very end of episode 9.
You should have.
Unfortunately, Carrie Fisher in the real world passed away, so it kind of forced her hand. I don't know if I would have liked to have seen it. I think you saw the reaction when she did use the Force, John, in The Last Jedi in space, and it didn't go down too well. I thought it was good. I actually liked that. I thought it was quite good that she did have the ability, but just decided not to use it. So it kind of contradicts the character using it very sparingly and only when she had to, rather than what we're reading here looks like from her brother Todd, she was going to be full-blown Jedi.
Yes, Stephen, look, I completely agree with you. I actually enjoyed the Mary Poppins scene as it is now infamously being
Mary
coined.
Poppins, y'all.
Yes, Mary Poppins. At least she's not a Mary Sue. That's always a Brucey bonus. Well, some would say she is because she defied death in space. But I liked that scene for what it was. It was a bit cringe. But the music and stuff, it was like a little kid's toy box, wind-up one from back in the days. It wasn't my days, way back. So I didn't mind that. That was probably the first example we had of her exploring her force powers in the saga story anyway, in the actual cinematic release. So it was established she had Jedi powers, so I could completely see that was the route they were going to go. And there was also rumours, Stephen, that she would be training Rey.
Well, Luke did say in Return of the Jedi, in time you will learn, as well. So it was always going to be the case that at some point...
And we've heard rumours.
But I always took the character to, obviously wanted to bury that side of, her abilities, because I think just the connection with Darth Vader, I think that was obviously my interpretation. But
yeah, well, it's unfortunate, Stephen, to have a connection with Darth Vader. If you're in politics, one of the most hideous, vilified guys in the galaxy, and you have that connection, it will be used to beat you with a stick. And we actually seen that, I think it was in Bloodlines, when the political stuff was being explored. One of her opponents actually used it against her.
Threw it in her face,
threw it in her face. So I always assumed, like you, that she had discarded her force abilities or shut it off, if you can do that. I think Luke did it, so you can. And then just chose a life in politics as a result, if you like. Well, obviously it's not going to happen now, so it doesn't really matter. Would I have liked to have seen it? I probably wouldn't have. I, much like you, would have preferred to have seen Luke Skywalker continue on. I still lament the fact that they didn't just take out of that disappearing. They could have just dropped back down into the rock and then survived.
I think what's going to happen, John, is that we're going to see a death scene with Leia in episode 9, and I think it's going to be mirroring Yoda's death scene as well, where just fades away.
Yeah, that'd be good. Actually.
And just as Rey's probably going into some despair, that's when we get the reveal of the Force Ghost Luke. And
then he said, but you also hear her saying at the end of the trailer, always, Force will be with you always. So maybe she'll obviously communicate with her as well. I don't know, Stephen. It's all interesting. But for the final thing I'll say, I don't think there was ever a Last Jedi. Anyway, that was pretty much revealed at the end of the Last Jedi. Funnily enough, when Luke says, "You're not the Last Jedi" or something like that.
I think in the opening crawl for Force Awakens, it says Luke Skywalker, the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So,
but then we also get revealed Rey and potentially Finn as well. Not Pin. Finn is a Jedi in some way. Stephen, there's a rumour out there. That's why I spoke about it briefly there, that he could be Force sensitive. That's the final thing I'll fling in there. I'll fling you under the bus. No. Would you like to see Finn be revealed as Force sensitive? Because he says the Force brought us together.
There is a difference between being Force sensitive and being a Jedi, John. We've discovered that. Exactly. So it doesn't mean they're going to be highly skilled people. It just means that they are sensitive to the Force. And that's all it means. It doesn't mean that he's going to be this great warrior. I think he does well in what he does anyway. But it wouldn't bother me, John. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with anyone having that kind of, ability. As long as I'm not going to, with no training, be this almighty, powerful Jedi. Like we're not seeing in this sequel trilogy.
Yes, some would disagree with that, mightily, Stephen. Some people out there,
I hope people
will not get sarcasm.
I hope people get our satire.
We've already discovered, Stephen, that they don't. Remember the Guinness advert comment? Yeah. And obviously the famous Godzilla, King of the Titans trailer reaction where they came down on you like
they always do, John.
Fury. Yes. But look, Stephen, I'm done. You're done. That's going to round up today's Force Friday show. What the hell do you make of this announcement from Uncle Bob that we are not getting Star Wars movies for the foreseeable future? It's on a hiatus. What do you make, if you're from the UK or Germany or wherever else, about Disney Plus finally coming, albeit 5 months later than the States? What do you make about the Obi-Wan series exploring the trauma? What the hell do you make about Princess Leia in an alternate verse being the last all-powerful Jedi? If you've got anything to say about any of the topics we spoke about today, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Alternatively, you don't have to. It's all good, you don't get charged. And we'll be back again on Monday with another episode of MB Movie News.